What up? It's your boy Marco from Upside Down Studios. It's motherfucking Monday. I'm here with my co-host from the deep, dark tundras of Libtardville.
I mean, that is horrible. The best part is people are like, he's the greatest. And you're like, bro, he's ruining things right out of the door. So, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I ain't saying Trump has been making fucking Jesus.
Right out of the gate, bro. Right out of the gate, you got locked down. I think that's what it
did. Come on.
Jesus.
I mean, what you hear?
I don't know why this happens, but I do find it entertaining as hell. That's for sure.
It might just go. It's only coming up.
Hold on, you're almost back. No, not yet.
Anyway, I wasn't trying to talk to politics. If that matters.
It hilariously makes it even worse when you keep on talking, because then it's like it's very funny. But hey, and there we go. Okay, you're back.
I'm twiddling my thumbs.
You're okay. You're a little delayed, but you're good. You're back.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Make sure. Yeah.
Listen. See, this is what frustrates me the most is people are like, "Oh, you're against one person." No, I'm against all politicians. I think they're all horrible. And you know what? Let's be honest. No one is perfect. Let's just right out of the gate. No one is perfect. What I'm saying is that when someone you can tell is aggressively against the principles that make these countries fantastic, I definitely don't want that person. The other person who talks a great game, I trust him a little more, still suspicious as hell.
Yeah.
So,
especially didn't they talk about, he talked a good game, but he never worked a day in his life. And then there was another one that was just a career politician. Like,
yeah, you're like, that's not a job. It's a public service, and I still 100% feel like, look, if you had people term limits of 4 years or even 8 years, 2 terms, okay, like the president, okay, then you would have a situation where number one, you could have it like a draft where, okay, now you're the representative for this area. That's it. You're the guy. You're the person. And then you know what? That eliminates lobbying. That eliminates, because you know what? In 4 years, boom, it gets switched. Sorry. It's a public service.
Earl down the street got governor. Somebody wake up the possums, get him up out of bed, sober him up, make the coffee.
I love it just as much. I think it'll be hilarious. Because you know what?
They have a fair share. I don't know if that'd be good for any kind of land.
Well, this is the thing, though, is now you have an inherent driver or purpose for everyone to be educated. You have a focus on everyone being literate. You have a focus on everyone being forthright in what they're doing. You're going, sorry, like there's a lot of reasons why this makes sense, but what do I know?
It kind of goes in a decent segue into one thing I did see. It's more of a, I don't know if you would say local, but it's an Ohio issue that Ohio got a lot of very promising bills and shit that are going forward. One is the qualified immunity thing that's pushing forward. Another one is eliminating the property tax in Ohio. That's pushing forward. Now, I guess they're getting college pushback on the new, I guess, educational standards or whatever, um, and what they're requiring in different colleges now. And I believe the one senator, kind of paraphrasing the quote, said that we're just making training camps for factories. We're taking away the education of some of these people. All right, first of all, I mean, just my thoughts on that whole fucking statement there. Um, a lot of these kids don't even deserve to be in that school to begin with. A lot of them got a free ride with whatever loophole they use. I ain't saying it was wrong. You know, a lot of people, that's the only way they're going to get to college if they wanted to fucking, you know, a lot of people use the loopholes to fuck the people. You know, they're fucking the system. Hey, they do what they do. But a lot of these motherfuckers didn't even deserve to be in college. And a lot of these motherfuckers don't even get a goddamn job or are still unemployable after they go to college or whatever. To what,
Yep.
learn Shakespeare that you could have just sat your ass down and read at home or while you're working the press, or uh,
Yeah.
now the whole thing is, it seemed to me like they're leaning more towards the vocational arts again, which which started our fucking country, which, that was, hands on. None of these kids know how to fucking work on anything anymore, but they know how to fucking play a video goddamn game. They know, I give it to some of them, they know how to work on the computers, or they know how to do the programming or whatever. But
Yep.
that shit ain't gonna fix your car. That shit ain't gonna fix the plumbing in your house. That shit ain't gonna fix the fucking gas pipes. That ain't gonna keep the electricity on, I
I
mean,
agree with you. Yeah. It's it's one of those things that doesn't make any sense in that like how you've tried to create a civilized society, but then you've taken the humanity out of everything, right? So, hey, do we need people who practice art? Absolutely. And you know what? It should be people who have lived, not a 19-year-old who's never done jack shit, right? They like there's this idea where you're like I remember when I was up for like graduating from high school, they were like, so if you want to learn a job, go to college. If you want to expand your mind and learn like things, go to university. Because university isn't going to teach you how to do a job. It gives you the opportunity to higher a level of education where you're like, oh, I can ponder things at a higher level, such as philosophy and things like that. Now, if you're 19, you can't be a philosopher. Just an FYI. You have zero experience of everything. That's and there are exceptions to every rule. But say that. But like what are you thinking about? Not shitting your pants? Like, get the fuck out of here. You have nothing to base that on, right? So the idea that people are out here going, I took philosophy. You're an idiot. That's simple. And a burden on society. That's my opinion.
see, I feel like stuff like that should be electives to take later on in life. Like if
Yeah.
you're gonna go to college or whatever, you learn your physics, you learn your fucking biologies,
Yep.
your accounting, you learn your government, shit like that. But if you come down, I'm majoring in classical art studies of 16th century peasant women who had red goats in the fucking 1600s. you know,
But that's like, look, the amount of people who are, oh, I'm a doctor of this super niche, barely existent field that I can't find a job, so I'm just going to teach. Teach who and why are you educating people with this? If it's useless, why are you learning it? Right? Like, hey, I remember one of my clients was she was up for tenure, which tenure you can't get fired, and her field of study was leisure activities. I'm like,
what?
what? She's like, yeah, it's how it affects us and how important it is to life. And I'm going, the answer is it's important.
Volleyball, tennis,
Like, yeah,
chess.
you should go out and do leisurely things. Yeah, that's it. That's not like that isn't a field of study. And I would be like,
What is like her first class? Like, is it like, does she bring a kickball in? Does she Or does she get like freaky, like sex ed? Because people do that for leisure too. So I mean, eating. I mean, there's a lot of bad things that could come out of that.
A lot. It's very peculiar because I'm like, I don't understand. And I would be like, hey, can you explain this to me? And she's like, yeah, sure. And she would. And I'd be like, yeah, that still doesn't make sense to me. She's like, oh, okay. And she would try a different way. And I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's not a thing. I don't know how to, I couldn't comprehend what she was doing. I'm like, this is
Are you sure it wasn't just because she was a woman?
no. She was super nice. She was such a nice lady. She was really tall too.
I felt the spirit of Cole.
No. She was solid. She was a nice person, and I was able to help her with all of her stuff and everything. But it was more so that like I didn't understand where I'm like, that's not. I'm like, she's a doctor of it, and I'm like, okay, I like that. That's something where I'm like, I just can't comprehend it because I think that's insane. Like, but at the same time, I'm like, I feel that the concept of somebody who's worked let's in a mine or a carpenter or an electrician for 30 years, okay, you graduated when you were 20, journeyman, say now you're 50, okay, you've done this for 30 years, that person should go start doing artwork and philosophy because they have 30 years of an experience in a field where they should know exactly what they're doing. Now they can transfer that knowledge into pondering the universe. 100%. If you're
Not only
20,
that, but they got, at that point, you should have yourself established enough to blow fucking money on bullshit.
also true. But that's I don't understand. Like, even if you work in a job for 10, 15 years, you should be at a point where you're like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I need it now. I should move on to do my own thing. Right. But it just never happened. It's very peculiar in that fashion because it doesn't jive that you have young people who are like, I'm studying gender studies. What gender are you? They, them, and you're like, that's not a thing. That's
Yeah, that doesn't exist. It's fake. It's
it.
a lie.
Well, okay. So did I have you checked your TikTok? Because I sent you a bunch of stuff.
No, I haven't been on TikTok in a couple weeks.
That's okay. Good for you. That is very. You're very mentally strong, sir. I doom scroll way too much. But one of the things I sent you was an interview that I guess happened this past weekend because I've seen it on people have been loading up like crazy. Was with Candace Owens, and Candace Owens goes, she goes, this guy is saying that she should admit that trans women are women, and she goes, no, that's a man. And he in turn goes, no, that's not. No, you have to respect them. And she goes, okay, then Rachel Dolezal is black. And he's like, no. He goes, why? Your ideology? You're saying I have to respect somebody because they say what they are. That's it. That's your argument is invalid. Either Rachel Dolezal is black or trans women are women. You can't. Those two things are the same. And he's like, well, that one of them is crazy. They're like, no, both of them are crazy. Ha 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 ha. It's very entertaining. But
Dude, I love Candace Owens.
she's great.
Fucking awesome, dude. She's fucking awesome.
Life is hard. Get a helmet. You're like,
Yeah.
God damn.
She was pregnant. She said that shit. I fucking loved it, dude.
Hey,
My nipples started milking.
Bro, it's the yeah.
Hey, so
yeah, good.
So by chance, here's something else that's I've only seen just once, and it's a quick flash on like the news tickers. I haven't heard anybody talk too much about it, but apparently, because China buckled, they came to some kind of deal with Trump. Stocks are stocks are up like 900 points. The Nasdaq is up. Fucking the S&P is up. Like, and it's just going. It's just up and up.
Hey, the idea that So something I learned in college, okay, for finance. I went to school for finance. Was buy on rumor, sell on news every time. And you're like, listen, this was the whole thing. The whole opportunity here, markets crashed. You should like it would be interesting to see what purchases were made when everything plummeted. And then see how this turned out. Because I'll tell you,
money.
Even my portfolio dipped a little bit, and people are like, "Aren't you scared?" I'm like, "No." And it's back and higher right now, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's ta-da! That's how it works."
Yep, it'd be like that sometimes.
Well,
I mean,
this is all a ruse.
Yeah, if you haven't watched what's going on here, man, I mean, the one thing I did notice, it's another thing that just recently popped in. They're trying to pass this. It's called the Big Bill or something like that, and a lot of it is the cuts to Medicaid and whatever, and it's supposed to make it stricter ways to get it, and repealing a lot of stuff that was put in by COVID and everything. And just I admit, when Trump was in office the first time, whatever he had going on and whatever cuts and whatever incentives he had going on. When I went to child support, the welfare office, which is connected, was empty. When Biden took office, that fucking thing was packed again. So, I mean, what's the difference now? We don't even look at the whole COVID thing because that COVID thing was a big fuckaroo to the Medicaid system.
Yep.
And I'm saying not only in healthcare, but in like welfare, food stamps, all that type of shit.
Correct.
Because it allowed people, it basically gave incentive to people not to work. You force, they force the fucking population, especially of the lower income, to just sit home. They forced them to, even if they wanted to work, because if you worked, then you had to pay for fucking Obamacare or whatever. If you didn't get some kind of health care at your job, then you had to make under a certain amount, or they took a little bit of help they did give you. I mean, I fell damn near into the same situation when I got custody of my kids. On paper, I was making, dude, literally $1 too much. I didn't want food stamps. I didn't want any kind of check. I just, my kids needed, my daughters were in counseling. I have a handicapped son. He needed his medicine and shit taken care of. That's all I cared about. I didn't even need help. They threatened to take it all away because I made $1 too much, and they were in the same building. So they, all you would have to do is walk from one window to the next window. Yeah. And they'd have been like, well, yeah, it says it's on paper, but he hasn't got child support since he's had them kids. So, whatever's on the paper.
Hold on. So they count just because you are supposed to get child support, they just assume you have, and that's it.
Yep. Oh, dude. I went through it for years, dude. Years. That's why, these chicks who fucking talk about, I got my child. Fuck you, bitch.
No. Yeah, well, the whole idea of child support is ridiculous. It's absolutely not. Number one, it's supposed to be for the kid. So, anyways, go on. Sorry.
Now, and I had no choice. I had to quit my job, my last job that I had, which I fucking loved. I worked in a fucking junkyard.
Yeah.
Out of all the shit that I've done in my life, I fucking loved working there. It was just, but I had to quit there. And when I quit there, oh, do you want this? You're eligible for this much money in the check and this much money in food stamps and this much money. You dirty motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You're forcing me to sit at home.
Yeah.
And you're going to pretty much pay me. And they did that to a lot of people, and a lot of people jumped on it. So now, it ain't the fact that they're kicking people off of it. It's pretty much, you're trying to fucking kick the addiction.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I don't know how, that's going to work out. I mean, I understand the good in what he's trying to do, but you also got to understand, just like with addiction, if you deprive a person who's addicted to something of whatever they're addicted to, they're gonna find it. They're gonna find a way to get it legally or not.
Well, so this is the thing is the idea of encouraging people to not use welfare and things like that is a good thing. The problem is that you're not offering a viable alternative, right? So it's
Right.
like, hey, listen, like let's be honest, is that okay? No, you should go out and get a job because you're physically able, fine, but also the jobs that are available, not real jobs. And also they're all part-time. You're going, okay, well then you haven't really done anything, right? So,
Right.
because let's be honest, is if there's a job that has higher risk, so such as a mine, construction, any sort of trade, okay, but training, like what am I getting paid? You're like, okay, so all of these things become issues, and you're going, okay, but you can go work at McDonald's. You're like, yeah, I don't want to work at McDonald's. Okay, I'm not. That's not going to happen. It's very peculiar,
And the
right?
bad thing is like just like you just said, like if you worked at McDonald's or you worked at a grocery store or you
Yeah.
work, they still hit you. They still they deplete on whatever they're giving you. They deplete. I mean, so if you try to do it right, you get less help. And like you said, there is no alternative for like the middle ground because
Yeah.
people are out here trying to work. People
Mhm.
are out here trying to do the right thing, and they do need a little bit of help, and they are totally denied. It's either you get it all or you don't get nothing, pretty much.
Yeah. That's the real problem is that when you consider like somebody was like, okay, someone is okay, me included. I was overweight, extremely overweight. And you know what? The only thing that helped me was me. Every other doctor, they gave me pills or they tried to, oh, just take this injection. You know what? I had to go out, learn about my diet, learn about how the body functions, learn what works, learn what doesn't, experiment, try things, be more physically active, all these things that are important that, you know what? On my own. There was no, when you're going, look, if you can make a TV show about people who have that are way over 600 pounds and have to lose weight, you have a problem in your country. It's that simple. Listen, because okay, listen, you don't just magically appear and oh now I'm 600 pounds. It doesn't happen overnight, right?
Yeah,
But you're saying, okay, and I'm not saying that those people don't need help. 100% they need help, no question. But you can't come tell me, be like, oh well, I suffer from. No, you suffer from fatitis. You suffer from fatitis. Fix your fatitis, and then we can. Because look, this. You know what the complaint I hear from other fat people constantly is, oh well, they just say it's because I'm fat, and I go, yeah, and they go, but it's not. It's something else, and I'm like, okay,
looks
what
like
you?
it fat me.
Well, no. I explained to this because I had the same thing. Okay, I would be like, hey, I'm very fat, so I know this is affecting me this way, but this feels different. Can you check it out? Okay. They were like, okay, that's fair. But every time, right down to getting a massage for my back, I would not feel the benefits. Why? Because I'm too fat. That's it. So the problem isn't, it's not that, oh, it's because you're fat. No, I can't help you because you're too fat, that my help won't work. Hey, the day after pill, if you weigh over 180 pounds, doesn't work. Do you know that?
Yeah, big girls are fucked. Hey, PSA to the big girls listening. You know, plan
Hey,
B is plan fucking D if you over 180.
look, and those pills are extremely complex. So you can't like, I'm gonna take two and it'll be fine. It's not how it works. Okay. So
Ovary fallout.
well, exactly. So it's like, so you're going like, okay, so it's not, they're not, it's the whole thing where you're going, no, it's not because you're fat, but because you're fat, there's nothing they can do to help. So you have to help yourself first, and then the other stuff will happen. It's not, and they're like, well, it's not because I'm fat. Well, yes, it is because you're fat. Your health issues are definitely because you're fat. But the fact is that nothing's going to change until that changes. It's kind of like this. I'm taking a lot of drugs, okay? But I can't sleep at night. Okay, but you're not sleeping at night because you're taking a lot of drugs. Like, oh, but I want something that'll make me sleep. Yeah, if you stop taking the drugs, you'll go to sleep. Like, yeah, but I don't want to stop taking the drugs. Then I can't help you. It's very cut and dry, right?
I hate when people do that shit to me. They'll ask me for an answer. I will give if I have more than one answer or more than one option, I'll give you everything I know.
Sure.
And then you're gonna look at me. Well, no, this got to be this. What the fuck you just asked me? Or
Why?
this person said this, and this person said no to do it this way. Why the fuck are we even talking?
Yeah.
And that blows my fucking mind. Like I had somebody tell me one thing, like try to explain to me a situation in the first half of the paragraph, and in the second half of the paragraph, totally canceled out everything in the first half of the paragraph. I'm like, why did you take the time to write this?
Yeah.
Why did I feel I'm dumber because I've read this?
Is it someone we both know? Is that why?
Yeah. I'm
Every
like,
time.
what the fuck?
He asked if I was mad at him. I'm like, no.
I can label that on quite a few people that we both know that just same fucking thing, guys and girls.
If you like, and that's the weird part is you're going, hey, don't come to me for advice unless you're going to take my advice.
At least take it. If you don't agree with it, go get in your car and be like, that motherfucker was stupid. Don't sit there and just look at me and be like, no, that's not. If you fucking knew, why are you talking to me?
Yeah. It's see, my question is this. If you were going to do whatever you wanted to do, why are you coming to me? And then when I give you advice that makes sense, why are you trying to convince me what you were going to do anyway is actually what's right?
Right.
So you were looking for validation. I've proven that you're stupid, but you say, I'd rather be stupid. Okay, have fun. Nothing I can do for you.
Part of it. Why do I? And then they get mad if you don't want to be part of their stupidity.
Oh, it drives me crazy because you're like, there's nothing I can do to help you. Like, well, I want your help. Yeah, but there's nothing I can do to help you. That's when I've had people who are like, oh, I need money. I'm like, you should go get a job. Well, can you give me some money? I don't have any money. I have nothing.
But
That's
see,
it.
now going back to the whole welfare thing, and the Medicaid thing, I personally think that just leave it the fuck alone. Just leave it the fuck alone for this one change. Get all the fucking illegals off of it. Motherfucker, 200 something million, 340. Who knows what the fucking number was? I mean, just because the flow stopped, don't mean it didn't bleed all over the fucking country.
Yeah.
And you know what? You might not save the $915 billion that the quota is, or whatever the fuck it is for the savings. But you know what? You'll save a big fucking chunk. And for all them years, we've been paying for these illegals to do what the fuck ever while our own people are fucking in bread lines again. Yeah, you know what? Fucking leave welfare alone. Leave it. If you're legal, leave it the way it is. There's already fucking requirements here and there. Every time they try to stick their dick in something, they fuck it up. That's why we got stuck with Obamacare. It was the closest thing to nothing that, and pretty much you're just paying for welfare. People think Obamacare is just such a great fucking thing. No, because the same thing that the dude who's not working, sitting on his porch getting high next to you, you have now, but you got to pay for it. And he's getting high. You got a drug test at your job, but he woke up and rolled him a blunt and he's going to get his teeth fixed.
How does that make sense?
Yeah, it don't.
It's the same thing where I try and understand this perspective, and it always fails. Is that okay? People are like, well, if you're in this country, you deserve due process. Okay, but they've proven that when you come into the country illegally, you are put in a detention center for illegal immigration. Okay, you are arraigned, due process, 6 months, yay or nay, done. Okay. However, what's been happening is they're putting them in hotels, and you're like, now it takes an average of 9 years. So you say that people deserve due process. Okay, but due process is over there in 6 months. Why is this taking 9 years?
Yeah, after 9, what is it, 10 years and you're a citizen damn near?
I don't know, but it's
Well,
very
it used to
confusing.
be, and that might have been just a little wives' tale because motherfuckers have been here for a minute and are getting deported.
Oh yeah, well, people, the idea.
Wait a second. And did you see that they're not taking the kids away from the families? They're not taking the family away from the kids. They're all fucking going.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not keeping families together because that's what people wanted.
That idea of like, oh, are you separating families? No, they all get kicked out. That's it.
And shame on the parents because them kids probably didn't even realize what the fuck was going on. Probably thought their parents were fucking legal here, grew up here. Yeah, we grew up in San Francisco. Yeah. After you came across the fucking border illegally with Abuela. Now fucking
Did you see the video of a girl who found out her boyfriend was cheating and he was up here illegally like his whole life?
Did she get him deported?
No, she drove him across the border and she's like, hey, we're going to the border. He's like, why? What? I don't have papers. She's like, oh, I thought you'd be excited to go home. And then she just left him there. And you're like, bro, don't cheat on a woman. That's
Especially that close to the border.
I mean, telling you, that's hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, boy.
Now, speaking of immigrants, real immigrants.
Yes.
Like people who are coming in legally, being due processed,
yes,
vetted.
Yes.
Apparently, America is going to be home to a bunch of new Africans.
Oh, that's nice.
Who are being pretty much persecuted in Africa
yes.
for their race.
Yes.
Yeah.
Racism to the highest degree.
Yep. And I'm not going to say what color is what. I'm not going to say what color is what because it shouldn't fucking matter. Now, everybody's you're African. These are now African Americans.
Bro, you got locked down immediately. That is the funniest shit ever. So, just so you guys are aware, these are people who have had property taken. They have been persecuted. They have been kicked out of the country. People who have been there for a very long time, and now they're coming over here. Well, they're coming over to the States. So it should be interesting. That is for sure. Hilariously, my friend has been locked down. Why? I don't know. I'm not really sure. But the interesting part is America is getting a bunch of African people, and it should be exciting. I think that's hilarious to me. That is. Oh my God. You're so frozen. So now you're just with me, everyone. Welcome. Yeah, this is one of those things where it's important to know the facts. Some of the facts being that things that have happened in other countries are always terrifying, and we hear about them constantly. But what we have to always keep in mind is the fact that there's always two sides to every story. So right now, while people are going to be coming to the Americas from South Africa, hey, welcome back, my friend.
I guess we can't talk about the people.
No, we're not. We are not allowed to talk about people whom I agree. Yeah, that was very fast.
Fucking quick.
Yeah, that was
shit.
Aggressive. I would say that was aggressive.
That was like a finger in the butt when you weren't looking, man.
While on the subway, like just hey, yeah, that was
the restaurant subway, not the you bend over to grab your cookies off the fucking counter. Woo!
Yeah, and surprise, man. That is Well, this is the crazy part about all this, right? Is that even well, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, whereas how they walked up to a lady who was protesting Elon Musk, and they're like, "What do you want? I want him to go back where he came from." And what do you mean? Well, wherever he came from, he should go back. You mean Africa? And she went, "Huh? I got to go," and just walked away.
No.
That is some of the funny. Like, look, I am a firm believer that you should be allowed to protest. I think that's important. I think that's a great way for the populace to have their voice heard. However, if you don't know what you're protesting and all of the details, you're a muppet. And that's just it. You're an idiot and you shouldn't be talking with anyone, right? But like it's one of those things where hey, you need to educate yourself. If you don't educate yourself, and like we've talked about this so many times, if you want to know about your country, listen to some other country's news. They'll tell you. They'll tell you all the shitty details. Yeah.
They don't give two shits about whatever politics we got, whatever. Yeah, none of that shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll test another. We'll jump off the politics.
All right.
There's something else that very few are fucking let out there. So Disney, when they put out Deadpool and Wolverine, that was like one of the highest, if not highest, grossing movies, like in terms of the straight profit in fucking ever. So now all that money is damn near gone.
What do you mean?
They lost so much on Snow White with Rachel Ziegler that almost all the profits that she brought the profit margin from way up here to zero.
So worldwide, Deadpool and Wolverine has made $1.3 billion. $1.3 billion. Yeah. What was the budget? I want to see. Oh, releases, title summary.
I know they didn't give them much. I mean, not as much as the other fucking Marvel movies.
No. Sorry, I'm on Box Office Mojo, and it usually tells the information.
That or IMDb usually has.
Yeah, IMDb does too.
But yeah, the whole, and I guess, Ziegler is still out there blaming everybody and their mama, and they're still doubling down with all this bullshit. I guess Feige finally came out and said that fucking, that Iger's, well, I don't think he mentioned his name off, specifically, but, that the Disney higher ups have been ruining all the Marvel movies.
Yeah. Well, you heard the lady who ruined Star Wars, she was supposed to quit, and now she's apparently back, and you're like, oh, that's a mistake. So interesting. Hey, Deadpool and Wolverine is the #1 rated R lifetime grossing movie.
Right. Now, look up how much was lost in fucking Snow White.
Let's go. Snow White. Snow White 2025. That's the one. Worldwide, it's only made $202 million. And hold on, let's find. Let me find out what the budgets were for both of them.
You know what? I was very surprised while you're looking that up. I was very surprised that it was an empty theater. Me and Ray watched the Thunderbolts in 3D and had the theater to ourselves.
Yeah.
Like totally empty. And that, you know what? It wasn't the best Marvel movie, but it was one of the best that's came out in a while. A lot of people didn't like the new Captain America movie, but I saw its flaws where they chopped it up. But it had a decent premise, and I like fucking Mackie. I just like Mackie.
Fair.
Even though he says some fuck shit sometimes. I mean,
make daddy a sandwich. I like it.
He makes, he plays a good part. He puts his fucking, he puts himself into the part. You know, uh, but I mean, like it was no Marvels or Eternals or none of that fucking the Captain Marvel crossover with all that. Oh no, She Hulk, that fucking monstrosity of a fucking show.
Well, the worst was she was like, I know how to control my anger because I'm a woman. And you're like, no, you don't. That's hey.
All the feminism in that show fucking died when she was fucking making her booty clap with Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah. That's hey, it's not even that you're going, oh, I'm sorry, because women are known for their level-headedness. What are you talking about? What planet are you on? I control myself. You control yourself because you're a midget and you get the shit kicked out of you. Okay. But you, and by no uncertain terms, are you a master of emotions? Let's calm down. By the way, so Deadpool and Wolverine production budget was 200 million, which plus advertising, it's usually like another so much, right?
Yeah.
Snow White was 240 to 270 million. So double it, and it's only made 202. So yeah.
Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
Oh my god, wait a minute, man. I'm sorry. I hate to break this up. Dude, are you in there shit? Door! That wall of the Matrix right there, on the other side of it is my son's bathroom. And I think he just fucking dropped the deuce, man. I smell it fucking wafting through the goddamn screen and everything. I got green screens draped over. I even over his door, I have a fucking like a burlap fucking sack to deaden the noise, and then the screen over it. There's no way that fucking smell should be leaking through. Jesus Christ.
That is hilarious. By the way, Snow White is rating on IMDb is down to 1.6, which makes it the all-time worst movie ever to exist.
Yep. I don't know. I watch a lot of the ratings thing, like they compare the IMDb's and the Rotten Tomatoes and shit. I thought there was a couple 1-1s.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't think so.
It might.
I may be wrong, but
in that genre, maybe because I do. These were mostly horror movies.
Let me see here. Because Deadpool and Wolverine is ranked. What? Where is it? 7.6. Jesus. I gotta Google it now. Hold on. What's the worst IMDb rating? Worst IMDb rated movies. Oh, disaster movie is 1.9. Manos, The Hands of Fate is 1.7. 1.7. Oh, Super Babies is 1.5. Kirk Cameron Saving Christmas is 1.3. House of the Dead is at 2.1. House of the Dead was actually pretty good. Son of the Mask is 2.3. Epic Movie 2.4. It's not even on here. It's not even on here, which tells me that it's like you guys are so.
Didn't even make the loser list.
Yeah, this is. It's not even in order. What a bunch of assholes. Hold on. Yeah, no, it's the 100 worst titles, and God, I hate this. Yeah, Smolensk is 1.2. Daniel the Wizard 1.2. Daniel the Wizard looks rough. Turks in Space, Serious Pledge this. Yeah, it's Snow White's not even on here, which
that's the second losers list that you looked at.
Yeah, but Snow White is definitely ranked 1.6 on IMDb.
Wow.
Like I kind of want to watch it just to see, because I'm like it has to be so horrible that
Well, not only that, but her whole attitude and her mouth fucking ruined. Like people were just, I'm not going to go see this shit because she's a cunt.
No, I'll watch it for free on Disney Plus. Like I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
It's like I I'll be honest with you, all of the AI things where it's got her face like and she's talking funny, I am dying because of it because it's so funny. I'm like, bro, there's nothing worse than being caught in a bad frame where you're like, and you're like, yeah, that's exactly what people pick up on, and that becomes you,
Yep,
right? It's the same.
forever.
Last of Us, that girl had it, who's got like, that girl has 4 chins, but 1 chin all at the same time. I don't know. She's like Buzz Lightyear, like just a giant. I don't know what's happening. She should talk to somebody about that. I don't know.
Did you see that movie The Flash?
Yeah.
What'd you think of that?
So there's a cartoon called Flashpoint Paradox.
Well, that's originally it was a comic.
Yeah. So, but the actual animated movie is fantastic. It is fantastic. Okay, there's no question about it. It is a great movie. And a lot of the elements were in the Flash. So I liked certain parts of it, such as Michael Keaton as old Bruce Wayne. Loved it. Which originally was supposed to be that he was, so in Flashpoint Paradox, it's actually Thomas Wayne and Bruce Wayne got killed. So his parents, his mom becomes the Joker, his dad becomes Batman. However, he's Batman and he shoots people in the fucking head without, like, he's badass. So it wasn't, I had hoped for more, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, I see what you did. I get it. It's okay. Like a lot of flashy sounds, but then you made Superman a woman. You didn't need to do that because there's also Superwoman or Supergirl or Power Girl or Power Woman. I don't know whatever her name is. One with big tits. I'm
Well,
like,
I guess that new Superman is supposed to be Supergirl. She just got dark hair instead of the blonde. My biggest issue with the whole thing is like, especially with the money that they had that they threw into that movie.
correct.
The fuck and you can see Tupac and Michael Jackson right now in Vegas, and they look like they're on stage fucking dancing. This is a fucking DC. This could have been like one of DC's fucking Infinity Wars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
And the fucking CG on that shit was so terrible. Like it pulled me out of the whole fucking show. And the fact that they made yellow flash, spoiler alert, fuck faces, they made the yellow flash pretty much doomsday. It was just it pulled me from the whole shit.
Well, this is the whole thing is you're like that. None of this makes like this is the same problem I have with the X-Men movies is they took 5 different stories, crammed them all together, and then they said, we're going to make an original ending. You're like, you don't have an original story, you assholes. Yeah. So, like, this is the thing is, there are so many good comic book stories with great endings that you can do.
Yeah, it's that easy.
Hey,
I mean,
and
you don't
people
have to
love
have a script. You don't have to have a. You need makeup, costumes. If you're doing CG, then you're doing CG. If you got to add a little bit to the fucking little block there, then you add a little bit. You don't take nothing out of it.
They're called plot devices. That's fine.
Right.
But, so this is the same thing as, remember the first Fantastic Four? Everyone was like, oh, it was so talky and sciencey. Yeah, that's the comic. The comic is riddled with science shit, and they talk for fucking ever.
That was the whole point of the Fantastic Four. They were, geniuses and rocket scientists. Even the badass Johnny Storm, he was, he wasn't stupid.
No, he was just a dick.
Yeah.
And a slut.
I mean, even the thing was fucking, he was a rocket scientist. Like he was. Yeah.
So it's and that's why I'm like, yeah. And people were like, well, why is it so wordy and sciencey? Because it's the Fantastic Four. Well, I didn't like that. Then why'd you go see it? Well, because it was supposed to be a good movie. It was a good movie. If you know about the Fantastic Four. Like, it's very cut and dry. And that's when you manipulate all those different stories and everything, you're going, okay, well, then what did you do? You're an idiot, right? But
which one are you talking about? Are you talking about the one, like the old 80s one? Or are you talking about the 90s, 2000 one?
90s, 2000 one.
Yeah. Where they made Galactus a big butthole in the sky.
Oh God, they ruined Silver Surfer, then Galactus.
That was part. See, I like that Silver Surfer. I'm not gonna lie.
He was cool,
but yeah, he was just like I didn't like when he lost his powers. It kind of, yeah, he kind of.
Silver Surfer can't lose his powers unless Galactus takes it away from him. It's that simple.
Yeah, it was the power cosmic.
Yeah. So there's actually a few storylines where like Spider-Man got the power cosmic, a few other people got the power cosmic, and you're like, bro, think about it this way. It's kind of like taking the limitless pill. Is essentially all bets are off, and you're at full steam permanently. You burn out. Like that's why. So Spider-Man could do it because Spider-Man actively holds back because he is a bitch. Like this is the whole thing where you're like, Spider-Man is extremely tough, like a spider, but he's a bitch ass and hides in the shadows because he's a bitch. That's it. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with anything else. But when push comes to shove, he fucked up Captain America twice. Okay. It wasn't once, twice. And you're going, that's Captain America. He's like, yeah, that's right. And Captain America was like, well, you should. He's like, you should shut your mouth or I'll shut it for you. And Captain America was like, oh, yeah. He goes, you don't want none of this, Cap. I'll take you out. And it was like, and Captain America was like, oh, really? And then Spider-Man grabbed his shield off of him. You're like, yeah. So this is that whole idea where it was because there was also a timeline where Dr. Octopus took over Spider-Man's mind. And it was
what the fuck was that called? I remember reading that.
It's a really cool story. But
Spider-Man or something like that, or
it's like the stupendous. It's something weird. I'll make it go.
They switched minds or whatever, and Doc Ock was like an awesome Spider-Man.
Doc Ock becomes Spider-Man. It was the superior Spider-Man.
Yes.
That's what it is, which is totally a Doc Ock thing. I'm superior. But he was so enraged because he's like, wait, Peter Parker doesn't have a doctorate? He's like, oh, absolutely the fuck not. Like he was like, that's it. No, fuck that. He just changed everything. He's like, no. I'm getting my doctorate. This kid's an asshole. I'm getting a fucking. I'm like, I'm not pretending to not be a doctor. I'm Dr. Octopus. Okay, like fuck that. But you're going like that was a great storyline where you're like you saw Spider-Man's actual potential when he wasn't fucking retarded child. Right? Like that's the biggest thing. Like Spider-Man is a kid. Throughout all the comics, you're like, he's still a kid and he's still trying to figure things out. That's his audience. That's who he's catered to, right? Dr. Octopus is a 45-year-old man who's at the peak of his intelligence. He's like, absolutely the fuck not, right? And it's similarly, look, for you and I, if we went back to our 20s, I would smack the shit out of me as a 20-year-old, be like, you're a bitch, right? So you learn as you grow. It's just life.
Did you watch the new Spider-Man, the animated one that they had for a quick minute?
Which one? Spider-Verse?
The first years or whatever the hell.
No, not yet.
It made MJ black and everybody like it was predominantly a black comic book. Which you know what? It wasn't bad. Okay. I mean, they made Norman Osborn. I mean, to me, seeing Norman Osborn in past years. And the way they portrayed him as he did, I like this one better. No lie, I have to admit. But to me, it was more of, it wasn't the Spider-Man cartoon or the story of Spider-Man or whatever. It was the origin story of Tombstone.
Ooh, but Tombstone's an awesome character. So
yeah, I mean, but like the way they did it on here was he was one of Peter's friends. He was a big football star, but he got mixed in with the gang to get his brother out of gangs. And then he just started liking being part of the gang. And they called him Tombstone because he was knocking motherfuckers out.
I mean, that's fine. That's
but you didn't really see too much of shit on the Spider-Man end. It was Norman was giving him, that's where he got his shit instead of Tony Stark. This was all Oscorp tech and shit he was using, and I mean,
see, this is the thing: do you remember how the Green Goblin was in the Spider-Verse? How he was massive and fucking terrifying, right? So that's from Ultimate Spider-Man, I believe. But you're like, that's the thing is in Thunderbolts, So in Thunderbolts, the actual head of the Thunderbolts is supposed to be Norman Osborn.
Right.
And Norman Osborn is because he's not allowed to be Green Goblin. That's that the government's like, you cannot
Didn't
take
he
the Goblin juice.
take the War Machine outfit? Yeah.
The Iron Patriot.
Yeah.
And bro, the thing is, with like through the Thunderbolt story, you realize that not only has he not stopped taking the Green Goblin formula, is he's refining it too. So now he's way crazier. And you're like, oh, and he also has an Iron Man suit. This is not good, people. This is a bad. And he goes, but he's like Nick Fury in that he's super paranoid, but also super intelligent and also has super tech. So he's doing all these things behind the scenes, right? So yeah, like I want to see Thunderbolts, but at the same time, I'm kind of going, fuck.
I personally liked it.
Yeah.
People, for it to be empty, um, I, I find that odd. I mean, because there wasn't that big of any backlash from Mackie, but I mean, for it to be empty on fucking, I think it was like the second day, might have even been the opening day. That's fucking crazy, dude.
So it's being ranked 7.6 on IMDb. Let me see what the box office is.
And then, while you're looking up that, you brought up fucking Nick Fury. It was a big controversy when they changed Nick Fury to Samuel Jackson. From Hasselhoff to Jackson. I think it was an awesome idea. I fucking love Samuel Jackson, but then they bitched him out.
Yeah,
like Nick Fury is supposed to be super spy. Nick Fury, he can't fight. He can barely fucking shoot. He's his fucking spy tax. He's no ninja. I tell you that.
No,
he was married to a Skrull. Didn't even know it. Fucking, I mean,
very confusing.
Yeah. The way they bitched, I want Samuel Jackson, like Samuel Jackson, to be fucking Nick 100%. Fury.
Absolutely. That's the reason why, because it was Ultimate Avengers where they made him that. I'm like, yeah, that's fantastic. Absolutely. Samuel Jackson, done. And then you're going, oh, but he can't say the word motherfucker. You're like, no, then you didn't hire Samuel Jackson. You hired a Samuel Jackson impersonator. Don't do that.
Can you imagine in that whole scene where it was the Spider-Man saying he can't do something, and he was like, "You've been to space." Can you imagine Samuel Jackson motherfucker, you've been to space?
100%. That's what I wanted. With you. That's what I wanted. That's 100% it. FYI, Thunderbolts, 180 million to produce and approximate 100 million on marketing, and it has already made 272 million worldwide. So
it's breaking pretty much at 0-2.
It's already in 2 weeks.
If you take costs against what it's making in,
yeah,
it's pretty much at 0.
Yeah, but it's only been out for what?
It's been out enough for it to fucking make its money.
But it's been out for 2 weeks and it's made its money. So
I mean, you can still say the same thing about fucking Snow White.
No, Snow White has been out for time.
You know who I feel bad in that whole situation for? Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
She put her fucking heart and soul into whatever the fuck she portrayed. And, she got this little cunt fucked it all up.
So hard. It's not just that, but even her having to say that she was jealous of this girl where you're going, oh, I'm clearly way better looking than her. This is not a debate. This is not like, and they're like, well, it's not about looks anymore. You're like, okay, what is it about? Because that's the story. So I'm still enraged that they still were like, it has to be Snow White. You're like, okay, but you didn't do it about Snow White. It's not the Snow White story. So why are you joking?
At its core, just like you said before with comic books, Disney made Snow White. They might have stole it from an old myth or fairy tale, but Disney refined what we know for generations as Snow White.
Right.
How did you fuck that up? You worked for Disney.
Yeah. It's very confusing. You had one job and you fucked it. How is that possible?
Could you imagine when Iger fucking dies and goes to hell, the ass whooping that Disney's gonna put on him?
Oh, I can't wait. It'll be
Out of
so much fun.
all of it throughout the Iger is gonna take an L from Walt Disney.
Bro.
Uh,
I like there's the only principle there is the fact that you're like Walt Disney did incredible things that were unheard of, right? And he took every one of the Grimm fairy tales is super fucking dramatic and aggressive and bloody and murderous and all horror things. They're fantastic. So the idea that he was able to tweak them a little bit to make them for children and how to be a good child instead of traumatic is very impressive. Why are you screwing with what he did? Like, hey, you can use the money to do whatever you want. Why are you screwing with this? It's the same thing as Clark Kent has to be black. No, you can just be a black Superman. That's fine. You can be another
fucking stories. That I mean,
that's the worst part is you're going, I'm sorry. Why do you have to? Oh, well, now this person's black. Okay. Why? Why can't you just make a new story? It's no big deal. Like, people will still watch it. So it's the same idea behind the WNBA. You're like, okay, WNBA is like, we should be paid like men. Okay, but you have no support from women. So why would I do that? It's the same reason why, like, look, all sorts of like farm leagues, like the OHL, doesn't make as much money as the NHL. You know why? Because it's not as good. Because they're not professionals, they're amateurs. And they may become popular, but when that time comes, then they'll make good money.
And one of the biggest issues that I see with Disney, especially because they talked about it again in the report that I read about Ziegler, they're pooling all the reason why Disney has got all this money, besides the Deadpool thing, which is now at zero pretty much, because of the other bullshit money losses. They're pulling all the money from the fucking parks. And that before Disney had anything to do with movies, that's what Disney was. Yeah. Disney was Disney World, Disneyland. They had new fucking shit everywhere. Last I heard, they were dismantling the whole Star Wars thing that they spent millions and millions of dollars putting up.
Yeah, because they put somebody in charge with it who ruined everything. Everything.
And they still got that fucking, I guess there's a, once upon a time, I think it was in the 60s, they were making a new attraction, and it was like going to be like a jungle safari or whatever. They had an island and they had all kind of shit. But in the water was flesh-eating bacteria.
Perfect.
So they had to they had to like not do the ride or anything. There's a lot, like, people have snuck onto the island. It's spooky and shit. But the one thing I always wondered is a lot of people swim in that waters that fucking go to that fucking waterway or whatever. I mean, and the boats go through there, and I'm sure a lot of the boats is using recycled water, and that's still there. All the millions of dollars, you'd have thought you'd have thrown some fucking chlorine in fucking water or something.
Hey, there's always a way, and there's the idea of the amount of abandoned, like, there are entire TikToks that are dedicated to abandoned cities, all over the world.
Oh yeah,
and you're going,
it's high rise, like these ultra fucking, high tech high rises that got like 3 or 4 people just right. They live there. It's like an apartment building now.
There's a guy I follow on TikTok who just bought an apartment building in in Philadelphia, I think. And it's a beautiful building. And he's like, yeah, we're restoring it. I'm like, you bought an entire apartment building. We're talking about like a 40-story apartment building. It's still got copper roofs and stuff. And he's like, everything's beautiful. And he's like, we're restoring it.
Yeah, the one I saw, this was somewhere, I think might have been maybe in one of the Koreas or something like that. But I mean, the swimming pool, it looked like you walked out of the back porch or back patio. You have this view that is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, it's this building is huge, like a tower, and the swimming pool is like one of them pools that are just level with the fucking like
Yeah.
walkway. It goes all the way to the fucking edge.
Yeah.
Like,
Infinity pool.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude. I'm like, and he says he spent like maybe I forget what the conversion was, but I think it was somewhere between $300 and $500 to stay the fucking week there, dude. And it was like he said he was getting like he was scared walking down to his little car thing he had or whatever,
Yeah.
um, because like there was just homeless people who lived in the parking deck, and there was like people who just ready to cheat. Like it was became like a project, dude. Yeah.
I don't know.
All right.
That's
So
wild.
the last thing that I didn't notice in the news too much is there's a new fungus that is spreading, and it's supposed to be like mad poisonous, and there's nothing to stop it or whatever. But the way it's sounding like it's like a not a, it's almost like a mushroom fungus, not like a fungus like bacteria or whatever. It's in like 17 different countries now.
Oh boy.
It's starting to spread, and it causes lung issues and brain issues or whatever. So this is what a little thought for you. We just found out that we can make computers out of mushrooms,
Yep.
like high end computers out of mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
We also found out that mushrooms communicate with each other.
Mm-hmm.
We also found out that mushrooms have a there's some kind of mushrooms or funguses that are make zombies out of their prey. So they could, so they take over bodies, and they spread their spores. Um, we know that mushrooms have their own language, pretty much like English.
Well, it's not like English, but it is equivalent. It is a language. It is 100.
Yeah.
It's not. Hey, the last thing I'm going to promote here is the idea that fungus talks in American. That's not. No, they do have a language. They do have a language, and it is real, and it can be translated.
Watch.
Just leave it at that.
Dino's gonna do research and find out if they speak Greek.
There you go. It's the original, my friend.
The mushrooms, they speak a Greek.
That's. I mean, it's the superior language. It's fine.
So now, I mean, that goes back to some of these people's theories of evolution, and that's how the monkeys changed or whatever by eating mushrooms. Yes. What if we evolved from mushrooms, or the original alien species or whatever are mushroom people or these funguses?
It wouldn't be a far-fetched idea that they are intelligent life. Ergo,
I mean, certain mushrooms you can eat, certain mushrooms are poisonous, certain mushrooms fucking make you see whatever you see. So do you think mushrooms might become sentient with the spread of these new fungi?
Like with AI, I think they always have been, and we're just now discovering it because we are the dumb ones.
What if AI is or mushrooms and AI are like one?
Oh, then we're definitely going to lose. We've
always been here. The humans were parasites, and they fucking demolished the whole fucking species of mushroom people or mushroom. Whatever.
Can you imagine if we finally are able to speak and communicate, and the mushroom's like, yeah, why do you guys all come together? That's the dumbest shit ever. Like, spread out. There's a whole planet. And everyone's just gonna be like, well, it's convenient. Be like, no, it's not. It's horrible. Everyone says how stupid you guys are. We talk with the animals, and they're like, these guys are idiots. There's a very good chance, because remember, it's that whole idea where mankind thinks it's superior to everything, that we're top of the food chain. No, we removed ourselves from the food chain. It's not the same thing, right? Because a bear will rip us apart, and now we have dire wolves to worry about. So yeah, that's fine. We're good.
Oh, I hear they're making the fucking some kind of prehistoric tiger now.
I'm gonna want one of those too.
Could you imagine just the people over in India and shit like that who are looking in the newspapers? Who there's towns, there's literal villages ran by tigers. They're making more fucking tigers. What the fuck is wrong with these goddamn white people?
The worst thing is that we have tigers. They're like, no. We want a superior tiger from ancient times that can rip a man in half with one swipe. It's the same thing with like a Barbary lion. You're like, a Barbary lion is so like what people don't understand is you're going, a lion is significantly smaller than a tiger. A tiger is quite big. Right. So, but a Barbary lion is bigger than a tiger, and that makes it way more fucking dangerous. Like, they were actively hunted because you couldn't fight. Like, there, if it locked on you, that's it. You're done, because it was the superior predator.
Aren't so those the lions that they made that movie Ghost in the Dark about? Like, they would just come in and snatch in people. They thought the lion was a demon, and it was like a true story.
Well, that was a true story. So yeah, the Ghost in Darkness. That's them. But that wasn't even a Barbary lion. That was just a man eater, which you're like, so they classify.
This tastes like chicken.
So that's the whole thing. Is you're like, there are certain animals that are have tasted human, and they bring humans back into the food chain. And the problem is that we are losers. We can't fight each other. We're fighting amongst ourselves, let alone trying to defend ourselves. We can't. So in turn, they get a taste for human blood, and they're like, all right, I'm just going to camp out and wait for an opportunity. And then, delicious human, fresh off the bone, right? Whereas a Barbary lion, okay, let me look it up quickly, and I'll tell you what the dimensions were for a Barbary lion.
I've seen some of them fucking like the Serengeti lions or the Saharan lions, and for them people being as skinny as they are, them lions are pretty fucking fat. Them lions are real big.
Yeah, so
I'm curious, like, is the Burberry lions like the fancy lions?
No, these ones, so they were referred to as North African lion, the Atlas lion, or the Egyptian lion was also names for. But they said that the head to tail length of the stuffed males in zoological collections varies from 2.35 to 2.8 meters, which means 7 feet 9 inches to 9 feet 2 inches. Okay,
that's a Cadillac of a lion.
Yeah,
that is a fucking CTS of a fucking lion.
Hey, and the women, the females, are 8 feet 2 inches on average. Skull size varied from 30.85 to 36. So 1 foot. So the face, okay, 1 foot to 1 foot 3 inches, which you're like, that's a big fucking face, bro. That's a lot of face. Okay.
A whole lot of fucking face, dude.
Yeah, the mane hair was 8 to 22, so 3 to 8 inches long. We're talking about the largest claim, the weight for wild maize ranging from 270 to 300 kilograms. That means 600 to 660 pounds.
Yeah, that's a CTS, dude.
Yeah, hey, I drive that. I drive a CTS. That's what that is. I drive a Barbary lion-sized car. Okay, that's So we're talking. It's not about like this. This is peak evolution of a predator. Was the Barbary lion, and they were hunted to extinction just because of how terrifying.
Did they have the saber tooths also? Were they the luxury model or the sport model?
Sport. They were not. They had all their teeth inside, but they were terrifying.
I'm waiting for them to start bringing back the fucking saber tooth, because that's it. They're doing the wolves, the saber. Somebody has a fucking iguana / Godzilla fucking just brewing right now,
bro. There's some jackass who's like, I'm gonna feed it uranium and see what happens. You're like, don't do that. Don't do that.
The Chinese on the old movies is black and white, and it's got to be real.
Saber tooth.
And then you notice most of the movies, especially the comic book movies, like, it ain't like back in the day. Boom, something happens, you got your powers. It's boom, we have to test this, and there's only a few people that are able to be compatible with this. So that's just programming people to be like, you got to break a few eggs. It ain't gonna be on the first time.
So to put into perspective, right, is the saber-tooth tigers were around 5.5 to 6 feet long. So that's
So it's about
2 feet shorter. 2 feet
yeah,
shorter. Okay.
those are the Eldorados. Remember when they cut the
Yeah, exactly. With 2-door, but just all this tank. Okay. But they're 350 to 750. So some are fat, like thicker, but they're not as big as a Barbary lion. Barbary lion is top of the food chain kind of thing, right? It's bro, they're terrifying. And I'm like, if they're the weird thing is that you saw did I send you the anaconda that someone saw in the Nile?
Yeah,
That was like
yeah, I've
it
seen
was
videos. That
hey,
thing was like Nessie.
bro, it is long, like it looked like the anaconda that was from the movie Anaconda.
Yeah, and the bad thing was it was a shot from the fucking sky, and it still looked huge.
Yeah,
and that wasn't faked. That wasn't faked at all. But you know, there's still talks about because I remember reading about it, and they talked about it on different shows when I was a kid. There's an African Nessie in the Congo. It's called Mokali Membe, and they swear up and down that thing is still out there. So, I mean, I believe it if there's that fucking huge goddamn snake in that water. If there's something that big, I mean, fuck, what's it missing? Legs?
like
That's the only thing missing. You know, that thing turns into a plesiosaur quick with fucking 2 fins and a flipper.
like, and people got to remember too is that snakes don't give birth to one snake.
No.
They give birth to a bunch of snakes.
A pile of fucking eggs.
Yeah, this is not. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's they're bringing back animals when you're like, okay, yeah. So it was giant anaconda crawls through the Amazon, goes viral. Yeah. So it was in the Amazon, and the pictures are like, bro, this thing is. It's not just big; it is terrifyingly big. We're talking about 70 meters at least.
Jesus.
Like, which is you're done. Like that will swallow a person whole with ease.
Quick. You might be alive still while it's digesting.
You will. Yeah. You most likely.
That's how big around. I mean,
yeah, because they don't have poison in their thing. They crush you and then swallow you. But at this size, it doesn't have to crush shit. It just
that's like a fucking swimming sarlacc pit.
I mean, basically.
Yeah, dude.
Because it's yeah, no.
And that's another weird thing that about all these animals that they're bringing back. We also have animals that are rising about the ocean. Like shit that's been in the fucking on the bottom of the ocean, all of a sudden they're all coming to the top. Apparently, we know all what this shit is, even though it all looks fucking weird and alien to me. Never seen any of the shit that they're pulling out the oceans these days on National Geographic. But yeah, so I mean, what the fuck is on the bottom of the ocean that make like the only time anything flees like that in masses of different species is like when something's on fire, you know, you see the animals running out the fucking forest, or when they're tearing down different parts of the forest or whatever. So what's happening under the water that's making all this shit rise to the top? That's what I'm curious about. I mean,
it's the same thing where NASA before in the 1960s they were exploring underwater, and they checked out the Marianas Trench, and then they're like, "Hey, so we're changing from water to space because we need to get the fuck out of here." So, hey, what I don't understand is why aren't they sharing that information? And it bothers me because for so long they're like, "Well, we can't confirm that stuff because people will panic." Okay, but you already told us that there are aliens, and we're all like, yeah, we know. We've believed it for a long time. You guys are just assholes.
We're more worried about the aliens that you're deporting.
Yeah. By the way, if you look up Times of India has a actual video from Twitter that shows them flying over the it's not just a picture, it was actually a video. And
see, I've seen the video of the snake in the water.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
That's
Nessie.
Like, we're talking about, like, that's got to be 5 feet in diameter at its biggest point, maybe 4 feet in diameter.
I would think, dude. I would think 3-4 feet. It's as big as a main water line that we have when I was working in the water department.
Yeah, that's like a water main, or
it's big as the water line. Yeah,
it's essentially a hippopotamus without feet.
A stretch hippo.
Yeah. It's fucking terrifying. Anyways, yeah. I mean, I don't
make
understand.
Sure you wear your swim shoes in the Congo. Might take off a piggy at the kneecap.
At least. Anything else?
Dude, just
no.
Just you come out the water. Like, I was always afraid of piranha when I was little.
Yeah.
I'm never going to piranha, even at its biggest is the size of a bluegill.
Correct.
This is a fucking monster. You just swim about the water and you're no leg.
Yes.
No leg.
100%. It is fucking terrifying. But
what we got for tonight? We got a quote?
We do have a quote. The quote is from Lil Wayne, and it is, "Real G's move in silence like lasagna."
That was actually ripped off, and then they fucked it up. It's actually real G's move in silence and violence. And lasagna.
Well, lasagna has a G, but it's silent. So, yeah, that's gonna be our topic. We are gonna be back at 8 p.m. tonight, and we will see you then.
And I figured out, I remembered why I don't like Lil Wayne.
Fair enough.
See you tonight, bro.
All right, later. Oh God.
Fuck, I'm supposed to be shutting this off. I'm waiting for you to shut it off.
I have no power here, sir.